Have you ever walked through the woods and felt like you weren't alone? That feeling of being watched, the crack of a twig that wasn't you, the shadow that flits just at the edge of your vision. For most of us, it's just our imagination running wild. But for one man, a former park ranger named David, that feeling became a reality he'll never forget. What he saw that day in the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest would challenge everything he thought he knew about the natural world. This isn't just another Bigfoot story. This is the story of a face-to-face encounter and a look into the eyes of something truly unbelievable. David had spent 20 years patrolling these same woods. He knew every trail, every stream, every whisper of the wind through the ancient pines. He'd heard all the local legends about the creature they called Sasquatch or Bigfoot. He'd always dismissed them as campfire tales, fun stories to tell tourists, but nothing more. He was a man of science, of evidence, of what he could see and touch. But one crisp autumn afternoon, all of that was about to change. He was off-duty, hiking a remote, rarely used trail deep in the national park, searching for rare species of fungi. The forest was unusually quiet. The birds had stopped singing, and an eerie silence had fallen, the kind that makes the hair on your arms stand up. That's when he smelled it, a powerful, musky odor, like a wet dog mixed with damp earth and something else. Something wild and primal he couldn't quite place. It was overwhelming. Curiosity overpowering his unease, David cautiously followed the scent, moving slowly and quietly. The smell grew stronger as he pushed through a thicket of ferns, and then he saw it: footprints. But not just any footprints. They were massive, at least 18 inches long, pressed deep into the soft soil. They were distinctly primate-like, with a wide foot and visible toes. But they were far too large to be from any known animal in North America. His heart began to pound in his chest. As a ranger, he could identify every animal track in these woods: bear, elk, cougar, but this was something entirely different. He pulled out his phone to take a picture, his hands trembling slightly. This was evidence, real, tangible proof. But as he framed the shot, a low, guttural sound echoed from just ahead, a deep, resonant growl that vibrated through the ground and into his very bones. It wasn't a bear. He knew what a bear sounded like. This was something else. He froze, every instinct screaming at him to run, but he was rooted to the spot, a mix of terror and fascination holding him captive. Slowly, he raised his head and peered through the dense foliage. And there it was. Standing not 30 yards away, partially obscured by a massive fir tree, was a figure that defied all logic. It was huge, easily over 7 feet tall, and covered from head to toe in long, matted, dark brown hair. Its shoulders were incredibly broad, its arms long and powerful, hanging almost to its knees. It was a silhouette straight out of myth, the legendary Bigfoot standing right in front of him. David's mind raced. He was a man of reason, and his brain was desperately trying to process what his eyes were seeing. Was it a man in a suit? a prank. But the way it moved, the sheer size and bulk of it, the way the muscles shifted under its hairy hide as it turned its head, no suit could replicate that. It was alive, it was real, as if it sensed his presence. The creature turned its head slowly in his direction, and that's when their eyes met. This was the moment that David says changed his life forever. He had expected to see the savage, wild eyes of a beast. He was prepared for aggression, for a mindless animal stare. But what he saw was the complete opposite. The creature's eyes were large, dark, and set deep within a surprisingly human-like face. And in those eyes, David didn't see anger or a threat. He saw intelligence. He saw curiosity. And most unbelievably of all, he saw a profound sadness. It was an ancient, weary sorrow, a look that spoke of a deep loneliness and a wisdom that felt older than the forest itself. It was as if this creature was looking right through him, seeing not just a man, but the entire history of his species. The connection lasted for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only a few seconds. In that gaze, a silent communication seemed to pass between them. There was no fear on the creature's part, only a calm, stoic observation. It was as if it was asking a question. What are you doing here? David felt an overwhelming sense of awe and even empathy. This wasn't a monster. This was a sentient being, a reclusive and intelligent species, hiding from a world that would never understand it. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the moment was over. The creature gave a slight, almost imperceptible nod, as if in acknowledgement. With a grace that seemed impossible for its size, it turned and fluidly melted back into the shadows of the forest. It didn't crash through the underbrush like a panicked animal. It moved with a silent, deliberate purpose, vanishing into the dense woods as if it were a ghost. One moment it was there, a solid, breathing giant, and the next there was nothing but the whispering trees and the lingering, musky scent. David stood frozen for a long time. The image of those sad, intelligent eyes burned into his memory. He looked down at his phone, still clutched in his hand. He hadn't taken the picture. In that profound moment of connection, the thought of reducing that experience to a mere photograph felt like a betrayal. He slowly backed away, leaving the footprints undisturbed, and walked back the way he came, his world completely turned upside down. He never filed an official report. Who would believe him? They would call him crazy, order a psych evaluation, and his long, respected career would be over. But he knew what he saw. The encounter changed him. He looked at the forest differently, with a newfound respect for its mysteries. He realized there are things in this world that exist beyond our current understanding, secrets that the wild still holds close. David's story isn't about proving Bigfoot exists. It's about what it means if it does. It suggests a world more mysterious and wonderful than we can imagine. It challenges our place at the top of the food chain and asks us to consider that we may not be the only intelligent, self-aware beings walking this earth. What David saw in Bigfoot's eyes wasn't a monster. It was a mirror reflecting a deep, ancient consciousness that shares our planet. And that, perhaps, is the most unbelievable part of his story. What do you think? Have you ever had an unexplainable experience in the wild? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories. We'll see you next time.